So hello everyone, welcome to lecture 8 of this Python tutorial series, and welcome back to Python tutorials. So in this lecture we are going to learn about object oriented programming, or OOPS. Now what is object oriented programming? So object oriented programming is a paradigm or a way to make a program. Now there are two ways to approach object oriented programming. One is fundamental and the other is object oriented approach. One is object oriented approach and the other is fundamental approach. So we'll talk about them one by one. So in object oriented approach, we solve the problem by creating an object, and it is one of the most popular approach in Python. As you can see here, solving a problem by creating object is one of the most popular approaches in the programming. So that is the first approach, object oriented approach, which is in which problem is solved by creating object, and it is one of the most popular approach in programming. This is called object oriented programming. As I said, this concept focuses on reusable code drive principle. So it works on the object oriented approach, works on reusing the codes again and again, which is based on you can also say dry principle. Now the full form of dry is don't repeat yourself. So you might have been confused by hearing all these terms, so don't worry. Just like we did all the other lectures and we did all the other things in those lectures, and we studied them, go through we went through them, we learned them, we done some coding, and then we were able to grasp the things. Just like that, with confidence, we are going to look into it also. So let's look into it from the very close end. Now in object oriented programming, we deal with objects and classes. So let's get here. What is a class? A class is a blueprint for creating an object. Now what is a blueprint here, or what does a blueprint mean here? So let me tell you about blueprint. What is blueprint here with an example. Now suppose you have to give an entrance exam, suppose, and to finally take that and write the entrance exam in the examination center, you will have to firstly fill form for that, which will contain your name, your address, your age, your other and other credentials as well. Suppose this was a form for IIT, so you have to fill a forms where your name, address, your email, and several other things you will have to fill in that form. So once that form is filled by you, it will be called yours. Now if Shivam filled this form with same amount of things, or his things, in that his name, his email, his address, all those things including to him, Shubham's, so it will be called as Shubham's form. Now it will not be called yours form because it is filled by Shubham. So that is why it will not be called your form. Now it is Shubham's form. Your form is different and his form is different. So why the form will be called mine or his? Because it contain our details, our specific details, our particular details, such as the name, email, address, phone number, and other personal information related to us. Right now I can say that it is both of their form, respective form. But whose form was it when it was blank? So when it was blank, it was no one's form, right? Because no details were there in that form, so it would be called a blank form because no details are there. Now you can say that that was a class, and when someone filled it, when I filled it, or when Shubham filled it, so it became an object. So that is the concept of class and object here. So the object contain information, a particular information, and class is the blueprint for that object in which it is written to fill that class. You can say that in class there are some placeholders available to put some values or put anything inside that class. So that is how we differentiate between object and class. Objects contain particular information, and the class contain that object containing the information or you can say a class contains some placeholder where those objects are put, and those objects will contain those information which will be inside those classes as well. So another example is here that when you travel from, suppose, Indian Railways, so you have to fill a form in which when it is blank, there is nothing inside that form, so it is called no one's form. It only contains some placeholders where you have to write something such as name, phone number, address, from where to where you are heading to, which train is that, which train you want to go in, which coach is it, which berth is it is, in what type of coach you want to get in, suppose say third AC, second AC, or maybe sleeper. So which type of coach, so all the details of you and the train you are traveling in is get in, does get stored in that form. But suppose now if I fill this form, so once you fill that form with your name, number, address, whatever it is given there, from where to where you are traveling, with your age and number and multiple other things to fill in that form, when you fill it, it will be called as your form. So it's not like there is only one form, there are several other forms in that for that railway as well, because there are several other people also who want to fill that form and go to their destination. So we get a proper idea that, and we will get into that when we'll create a class. We'll create a class here, but now you have got an idea that from class we can create multiple objects, just like copies of different forms in the example that I gave, because there are not only one form but there are several forms. So class contains objects can be multiple, but class remains same here. So that is how you can differentiate between class and objects. Now let's move ahead. Now as you can see here, if I will come here, you can see that, let me just increase the size a bit. You can see that there is a blank form which can combine info to create a valid application. So here blank in form is our class, because it doesn't contain anything, it will only contain some placeholder which will combine the info to create a valid application here. Now when will be filled by a student, suppose, so the application of the student will be that particular student, or that particular student will have that form, so it will be called his form, his or her form. So here it will be called his or her form. So here we can say that now that form belongs to this particular person or this particular student here. So when it will be filled by, the class will be filled by a student, so it will be called its form, and the things which that student is filling inside that class or the blank form is called the objects. Now another example here, class contains info to create a valid object, as we have seen here. Now here it is given by the example of class and object. So the class, as I said, is a blank form, and object are the application of the student which he filled the details inside it. So object installation, now here I will come in VS Code, and then I have made a folder here, just like I make always Python 8, because this is our 8th lecture here, and I'm very glad that we have reached our 8th lecture. So here if I will create a file, class.py here, now we'll learn how to create a class in this file. Let me show you how to create a class here. Now to create a very basic class, we will create a very basic class here. So to create that basic class, you will need a syntax, and that syntax is, suppose I am creating a class for employee, and that employee is suppose the name of that employee here is, suppose my name, and the suppose the language that employee is using is Python, and then suppose the salary of that person is, suppose 12 lakh, it's 12 lakh, right? Yes, this is 12 lakh. So here we have created a class here with some objects. Now these are the objects, and that one is our class. So we have created our class here with some these names, language, and salary here. Now the main class here is our employee. Now to create an object here, what will I do is I have to write here Rishabh is equals to in employee, and I will print here Rishabh dot name, Rishabh dot suppose language, then Rishabh dot salary. So what am I doing here is I am printing all the things available here in class to my object here. Now if I will run this, you can see here all the objects here are getting printed from this class. You can see here Rishabh dot name is in Rishabh. Now language is Python and the salary is 12 lakh. Here it is getting printed. Now this is a very basic code we have done here to get the answer. You can see here this was very basic way to make a class and object here in Python. So I have done this basic class and object creation here just to let you know the overview of what we are going to learn in this chapter here. So this was just an example that we did, and now we'll do everything that is inside oops, and I'll try to explain everything possible here for your better understanding. And that being said, let's move forward. So when we will come here, we can see that the syntax was given here just like this. To create a class name is written in Pascal case. Pascal's case is like this. So now methods and variables are the thing that we did in our objects. That is what we have to write inside our class here. Now talking about object, as we said, an object is an instantiation of class. When a class is defined, a template info is defined. Memory is allocated only after object instantiation. So here it is talking about the template. Now template is what here is, as we have seen in our code, that now this is an object here. What is an object? This is an object here in this code. And the template info is basically what we are writing, and through this object here, every employee will have the same present, whatever is present here in our class. So we have learned that what is doing something in here is when oops is running the program. The template is basically that the thing we discussed. So now template is where basically the information, or that we talked about the blank page. So the placeholder that blank form was containing, where we have to write our name, address, number, whatever the personal details were to be written in that form. So that blank form was the template here. So now let's move ahead to another things here. So now we will talk about modeling a problem in oops. We identify the following in our problem. Noun, class, employee. As we have seen, class was employee here, so that is noun. Adjective here is attributes. Name is salary. We'll get to that. Now verbs here is methods, get, salary, increment. We'll get to that once we are ahead in this chapter, once we are in the later half of the chapter. Now let us move ahead here to class attribute. So what is a class attribute? An attribute that belongs to the class rather than a particular object. Now here firstly I will make a class attribute .py file here, and then I will keep my talking here about the class attribute. So what is a class attribute? So as you have seen, I wrote a class employee where it is containing name, salary and language of that class employee. Now suppose I want to remove the name here. Suppose I am copying this and I will paste it here. Now suppose I want to remove the name, because every employee's name will not be mine. Every employee's name will not be Rishabh, right? So I want to remove that name here. So how will I remove that name and make it another name here? So suppose there is a company that only works on the Python language, which gets the salary 12,000, but there are so many employees with different names. So I want to create that. So it will create an object with Rishabh, and it will create it with this syntax so that I can print language and salary here. So suppose if I create here Rohan is equals to employee, and then now if I want to print the salary and language of Rohan, what will I do here is I will write print then Rohan dot salary and Rohan dot language here, just like that. So when I will run this, now you will see here the salary of Rohan and the language of Rohan as we have printed here, it is getting printed as it is, as we have given it our uh, the in the class, whatever is given in the class. We have created another object here with the name Rohan, which is our employee uh, in this company, or the class employee. So here whatever the salary of Rohan and language and salary are same for Rohan as well. So it is also getting printed. Now this salary and language which are attributes here, these belong to this class employee here, as you can see, as they are inside this class which is class employee. And any employee is created or any employee gets here stored here using this class employee. In other words, any object that is created using this class, by filling this form here, whatever the object will be here, it will get the salary name and name salary and the language of that class which is employee here. So every object here will get that salary of 12 lakh and the language as Python here in whichever object we create. Suppose it was Rohan, suppose it was another person also, uh, then we have created several other people in that company also to create that object. So they will always contain the language and salary as the same it is given in the class, because the salary and language are the attributes of that class, and using that class employee we are creating the object. So the salary and the language attributes will be here in our objects as well when we will print it. Now suppose I also want to give name to my employees here, so I will go here and I will write Rohan dot name is equals to Rohan, and also here I will go and write Rishabh dot name is equals to Rishabh, just like that. So I can print name here as well after giving it. So if I will write here, suppose I want to write it here Rohan dot name, just like this. So when I will run this, you can see I will have the name of the Rohan, but here the name of the attribute name in my class was Rishabh. Now I can change it also here when I will give name in my object here as the object name Rohan dot name was Rohan. If I will print it, I will get it like this. So as we have seen here, now without telling you, I will just write it here because I just want you all to read it and grasp it in your mind. What I am going to write here is, I will comment it out firstly and then I will write what I will write here. Name is the object attribute and salary and class are class attributes, as they all belong to, or instead of they all, as they directly belong to the class employee. Now what do I mean by that here is, so the object name here is object attribute. That means that the object attribute here is name, because I have created it inside our object here. So this is object's attribute, it is not class attribute, because in class the name was Rishabh, and now here there is another attribute name which contains another value. So this is n created in an object, so this will be the name attribute, or the object attribute is name. And since we know that language and salary are the class attribute here, so these are the class attribute. So that is how you can differentiate between object attribute and class attribute. Now again, just to make my code here more descriptive, I will write here also that this is here I will write it, this is uh, an object no object attribute, and here I will write this is a class attribute, just like that. Now I will copy this here and I will paste it here as well. Now I hope that is very clear. Now instead of object attribute, I will write it here as instance attribute. We will get to what is instance is here. I will firstly, why is it all of it getting selected here? Also write instance attribute here. So this is an instance attribute, and salary and class are the attributes belonging to that class. So there is a difference between these two class attributes here. So instance attribute are basically what we made here. As you can see, we have made here dot name. So instance attribute, or the object attribute as we can say, are made by using dot. We will get here again, and you can see here an attribute that belongs to the instance or object, assuming the class from the previous example. Here it was given as your name, and here your salary was this. Now here it is given a very important note here. What is it? Instance attributes take preference over class attributes during assignment and retrieval. Now this is a very important thing written here, so I will explain it for your better understanding. Now to explain this, I have to create another file here, so just so you don't have any confusion here. And since it is also a important topic, instance.py, or maybe instance attributes.py. So I'll come here. Suppose I will paste the same thing. No, not this. I have pasted the same thing here also. Suppose I have an class employee in which the attribute of that employee is Python, as I have given there. So suppose that we are making an instance attribute of name, so the instance attribute of name will be harry.lang, will be here like this. Instance attribute here, suppose here I am making it rishabh.language. Here as suppose I want it as Java script, just like this. Now I will ask, brother, you have already created a name attribute in class which can give you the name here when we will print it. And for name here it was Rishabh only, so you wanted to change the name because there are several other employees with other names as well. All the employees cannot be of same name Rishabh, so you have changed the name here. But here language is given the same, int would be same here. So what are you doing here? Why are you creating it again? So now to counter your question, I will say is, if I will print salary here, so it is simply, we know that class attribute will be fetched here and we will get the salary as 12 lakh here. But if I will fetch the language here as rishabh.language, so it will be printed as Python, which is given there, or it should print JavaScript. Now here's the question, here's the catch. Will it I have given two attributes now in an object and now in the class attribute which was already given here. I've created the same attribute in object as well for language. In class attribute, in class employee, there was this language attribute called Python, and here in my object attribute of Rishabh is equals to employee, here my language is JavaScript. So will it print Python or will it print JavaScript? Let's run it and we will get our answer. Now as you can see here, what I got here is JavaScript. Why? Because we have what we have read and learned here. Instance attributes take preferences over class attributes during assignments and retrieval. So here the line is true. Whether you try to get it, try to set it, try to get or set it, you will always get an instance attribute as your priority here. So if I'll give here Rishabh.language, so it will check in the class attribute whether it is present here, whether the particular instance attribute is present there or not, and if it is available, then it will print from the class. Otherwise, from the objects instance, the attribute will be taken. But if we print with no JavaScript, so it will always take the Python as the attribute and it will print the language as Python. So I hope that makes sense here why instance attribute given the priority here in comparison with class attribute. As we have seen here also in our example, the object attribute which I have created with the same name as language, here we are getting that attribute when we are printing. So object attribute are preferred more, are preferred firstly than our class attribute. Now let's get back here. When looking up for this attribute, it will check the following: is the attribute present in object, as I said, and attribute present in class. So in both the class and object, the attribute will be checked. Here it was my language attribute in the object, so it will check whether it is present in class or not, and the object in and the attribute in object is always present, so it will give priority to the object attribute here. Now I hope that is very clear to you all. Now let's move ahead to self parameter here. What is self parameter? So self refers to the instance of the class. It is automatically passed with a function call from an object. Now what does that mean? Let's come here and I will create firstly a file here of self.py and I will enter it, and then now let's understand what self parameter is. So what happens is when we make a method or object in oops, suppose the employee class again. Now I want that I should create a function here named get info. So I will get our, suppose this only, I will get our class attribute here, then I will go to self.py, then I will paste this here, and suppose firstly I will just erase them like this. Now if I want to create a function here, so firstly I will do what is, I will firstly let me create a function get info, and this is our function. Now to create a function I have to give it def, then I want to then I want to print, suppose the language is language full stop, the salary is salary, just like that. Now what will happen here is the spellings are right. So what will happen here is, so firstly I am telling you what we have done here wrong, and then I will tell you the right way to write. Now look at here the instances of the class here. What you will see is, you will see the language here, the name here, the instances of our class will be name, language, salary. So this is name here is Rishabh, language here is Python, salary here is 12 lakh, which are the attributes of our class employee here. Now in here Rishabh is equals to employee, which is our object here. In our object Rishabh, what is, so if you will run Rishabh dot get info here, get info just like this. So you can say that Rishabh so you can say that Rishabh here is our class attribute here, or the object of class here also. So it will get the information of salary and language here, what we want to print here, when we call the function here, as it contains these infos in our class, right? Because it's inside this class template. But here's the catch: when I will run this, I will get an attribute here. Employee object has no attribute get info. Now why am I getting that? It is already present in our class, but still I am not getting. When I have created the function here, I am not getting whatever I want to print. Why? So why is that so? It is showing me no attribute here given info, but here I have not given any argument here. As you can see, I have not provided any argument here. Why is it showing me like that? Why is it showing me my positional argument here? The thing here is, when we say Rishabh.get info here, so it gets converted into a call function, or we can say that it is called like this here. Now let me just comment it out first. I'll just go comment it out like this. And what I was saying is, it gets converted when we write it like this. It gets converted here as employee dot get info, just like this. So now we can say that you can say that we have given here an argument which was not firstly accepted here. So that is how it is created or called here. When I will run this, so here we accept it by using self. You can accept it using any name usually, but self is used here. Usually we accept it using self only. That means the object on which this program is run. So we will write object and salary as, firstly I will remove this, then I will put self here, self, then I will write it here like this: self dot language and self dot salary. So when now I will run this, so why it was not providing me the output here? Because I have written self here. You have to not write self here in your object, otherwise it will not give you answer. You have to write self here in the function here, and also here I have not used fstring. Now this is okay. Now if I will run this, so I also have to write this def here inside our class. I have not written this inside our class. So what I will do is, I will click alt and I will get it here, then I will give it a tab. I will do same with print here also of def, will get inside. Now we'll move all of this below. Now I will have to indent it just like this. Now if I will run this, I will get this like this. The language is JavaScript, the salary is 12 lakh. This is how you can do this. So here, as you have seen, either you write it like this or this. Now if I will comment out, and this I will comment it like this. Now if I will get here, now this is showing me the answer here. But if I suppose I haven't given the self here and I wanted to print it like this, like this, now what will happen here is, it will give me get employee.get info takes 0 positional arguments, but 1 was given. So here I have not given any positional arguments here. Now I have not given any argument here, but why it is asking me here, it is showing me here argument, but 1 was given. I haven't given any argument here. So what happens is, it gets converted into this. So either you write this or this, but for writing it like this, you will have to give here what self operator is self dot language, and here self dot salary. So that is how when you will run this, you will get no error, and this will be printed like as it is when you have created a function. Also, you have to keep in mind that this function should be inside our class only, not uh, outside the class, as I made the mistake. So I will say this is a very good thing. This is a syntactical sugar here, or a syntactical tool here, very important tool. So now you have understood why it was giving me the error here, the original argument error here, whether I was giving it or not. So as you have seen, now you have learned it, and now we have printed everything. As simple as that. Very good. So now that we have understood how methods are created, and in every method we have to give self here, whether we use it or not. That is the line which is very important, whether we use it or not. So you have to give always self in every method. Now if I create a function here, suppose def greet, so here also I will have to give self here, whether I use it or not. So what will I do is print hello, and I will take self dot name, suppose I have not given f string here. So that is how, and if I will call this function here as Rishabh dot greet, so it will run like this, hello Rishabh. So either you use it or not, you have to give self here. Or suppose I am not using, I am just printing suppose good morning here. So I want to print now good morning. Let's do it like this. Good morning. Now I have written good morning. If I will run this, it will still give me the greet function here, because now we haven't used self here, but we have given here self. Now if I won't give self here, what will it give me? Employee dot greet takes 0 position. Same, I have not given argument here, but this is getting converted into like this, employee dot get greet here. As you have seen here, it is showing me here. Now if I will use self here, so it will automatically give me good morning. Just like that you can do this self parameter here. So self parameter is very important here. So as you have seen here, employee dot greet will be getting converted into Rishabh dot greet, and it will provide us the same answer. So these are the two ways to get our function in our class. So that was all about self operator here. So till now what we have done is we have learned about classes, our blueprint, and then to make object we have class containing those objects and attribute, and we saw that long language and salary were class attributes. And just like class attributes, we can also make instance attributes by using dot there. So if I write Rishabh.language is equal to JavaScript, my instance class will would be created. So instance attribute will be made, which will be a property of class. Self is a convention, as I said. If you write SL, or if you write anything like KK, CR, PR, KR, anything you want to write in place of self, it will not matter, and it doesn't affect our code, but it is a very good way, or it is a descriptive way to write self here. You don't want your parameter to be, so for that we use self only. We don't use anything else. Otherwise you can use anything, it won't affect it, but for descriptive method we use self. Let's move ahead with this as we have done it. Now let's move to static method. What is static method? Sometimes we need a function that does not use a set parameter. We can define that static method like this. So to define a static method, let me just come here again, and I will teach you in this only. I will not make a file here. I don't have to make a file here. I can teach it here only. Now we saw here that our greet was the function which here was doing nothing but only was printing good morning. But I have passed the whole object here in it. So you will say there was an error. There was a positional argument error. It was showing when we have not passed any object here. So it was our condition. It was our need to do that. Without doing it, it won't run. It was not running. The code was not running here. And without positional argument, we can't do anything in it. We can, my friends, we can. Now if I don't want to pass any object this big, or suppose self only, so what will I do is I have to tell here that the function here I have created does not take self here. That means there is no need or no work for the object to be placed. We neither want salary nor language from the class here, from the object here. So if I want to do it with greet, I will make it a static function here, just like this. Just like this. If I go here and to make it a static function, I will make it static. I will write static method just like this. So it will be my static method now, and I will remove this self here now. So here it now means that greet is a static method which does not need any object, any self parameter to run its program. A static method is a decorator. We will study about decorator when we will move ahead in this chapter, but for now we wrote that at the rate static method in our above our greet function. That is, we are telling Python interpreter that there our greet function doesn't need any object and will not take self also in it, so no object property will be used. Now if I will run this, you can see it is still printing good morning. Otherwise it was not printing without providing it an object or self here. So that is how static method help us without giving it an object. Now let's move ahead. Now we will come to init constructor here. So now what is init constructor here? Now we'll understand this init constructor, and then I will wrap up our lecture here. So now listen very carefully, as it is very important. So till now whatever we have, I have made here a file here init.py, and I have created here the same as our self.py, just like this. I have copied it and have printed it. Now I will tell you about init function here. So whatever we made it in our classes, just like we made employee classes, then we made object here Rishabh is equal to employee, then we wanted to change the language, and then I wanted to print the name, language and salary also. We made all the functions here. So that is how we did what we did in uh, our classes here and our objects here. So I want to set here my name Rishabh.name here through a more easier method. So instead of giving my name as Rishabh.name here, I will make a function. Which will give, so we made like this. Now I will make another function here, suppose, and I will write in it here just like this. So as you can see, it has already as you can see, it has already made a function here, as you can see it just like this. Now init function I have made here, it has already when I entered it, so it made my self, it has given self and pass here. For now, after this I will just write here print I am creating an object here, just like this. I have written inside init function here. So when I will run this, you can see here I am creating an object here is showing me, but as you can also see that I have not called my init function here, just like I made get info and greet function. So I have to call it here as well, but I haven't called my init function which I have made here. So how it automatically showed me the working here? whatever I had to do here. I am creating an object. When I called here greet and get info, then this get info and greet was here printed, but here I haven't called my init function, so how come it has been printed here? So from that we can understand that init is a special method which is also called as dunder method. Now in our Python, the methods which we start or which starts from the double quotes, sorry, not double quotes, double underscores, are called dunder methods. Now let me write it here in comment to make my code more descriptive. This is dunder method. In Python we call them dunder methods. So the moment I create that method, so the moment that I will create an object, it will automatically be called. That dunder method will automatically be called. If I write, suppose Rohan is equals to employee, then as you can see, it has again it is showing here, but I haven't called it. So that is the functionality of init function. So you can say that whenever you make an object, the moment the object is made, this init function or the dunder function is called automatically. Now suppose I want to make my code more convenient, for my convenience, so I will write everything here only. My employee function, I will write it like this. I will write Rishabh, suppose 13 lakh, and then my Python language, just like this. So here this is a string, so I have to make it in like this. So I can take 3 arguments here, and if I will write suppose I am removing self here and I am writing, and here I will give self name, salary, and language, just like that. So for that I also have to give here what self dot name is equals to name, then self dot salary is equals to salary, then self dot language is equals to language here, just like that. Now I also want to print here I am an object, just like that. So I provided here the values and I have given here the name, given here the attributes of this init function here. Now, so you have to remember that whenever you create a init function like this, you have to also set your attributes here also and here also, just like this. So you have to write your attributes like this, self name, and just like that. So now let's run our program here. If I will run this, I will get the same object as like this. So here what is it doing here is, so an instance attribute is made here, and whenever you will create init function like this, you have to make the attributes or give the values like this also, otherwise it will always show an error. So now that we are done with our all the fundamentals in our chapter, now let's move ahead to our practice sets. Now we have come here in our practice sets. Now the first question is, create a class programmer for storing information of few programmers working at Microsoft. So I will come here back in my VS Code and I will open file name question1.py. Now let's do our question here. So now what will I do it? I will create a class of programmer, and then I will firstly give it an attribute company here, which is Microsoft, and then I will create a function inside it which will be definite. So definite I have created just like this, but now I will give First, let's just give name here. Self dot name is equals to name. uh, now I want to also put self dot salary is equals to salary, just like that. Now I want it to print or maybe let's not just take language here, we will take pin here. So pin, and I will put it here also, name, salary, and pin. That is how you will do this. And now what I will do is I will create here is equals to print. No, not print here. I will call my function print programmer. Suppose I will give name here as Rishabh. Now my salary will be 14 lakhs, and the pin will be, suppose, any random number I will give it, just like that. So it has created our 6-number pin. And now I will print here p dot name, p dot uh, salary, and p dot pin. If I will run this, I will get it like this. So now let's create it for Rohan, for a programmer named Rohan also. Copy this, paste this, and now let's make it for Rohan. Everything will be same here. Now let's suppose it has different pin, so give it like this, and it will print it for Rohan as well. So that is how you will do this question. But before moving ahead, now let's, if I give the attribute class here also, so I will print, I will just see what it will do if I give here this attribute. So it will print the company as well in both the cases. So that is how you will do this question. Now let's move ahead to another one. So write a class calculator capable of finding square, cube, and square root of a number. Now to do this, I will go here, create question2.py. Now to create a calculator, I will make again a class named calculator. Then I will again create a function init, def init here, init, just like that. And now I will provide it a value which will be printed here as n. So n is the value here. I will remove pass, and I will provide is self dot n is equals to n. Now what I will do is I will make, so I will make another function here, def square self, then print n into n for a square, or rather we have to give here self dot square, self dot n, here also self dot n, just like that. And now I will provide it a is equals to calculator for 4, and then print, or not print, just call the function a dot square, like this. Now we have to make it for cube and square root as well. So I will copy this, and or maybe not, just copy, shift alt, and not like this. I will select it all here, just like this, and I will shift alt, copy, just like this. And I will make some spaces here to look it more presentable. Now I will create this for cube. So here self n. Now again I will have to make a self n here, which will be like this, just like that. Now I have to make a square root. Now for that, what will I do is I will make it a power, and then I will erase self dot n, and I will give it half. just like that. And now we will call our functions here. So calling q and calling square, just like that. Now, so the error is because I haven't written them inside our class. So just like that, I will do def, and again I will put my cursor here, and I will hold alt and I will click multiple cursor, then I will tab, and when I will run this, I will get for 4 the square will be 16, cube will be 64, and square root will be 2.0. So that is how you can do this question. Moving on, we have another question. Create a class with a class attribute a. Create an object from it and set a directly using object.a is equals to 0. Does this change the class attribute? So we will have to firstly create our question3.py file here. Then what will we do is, now here I will suppose I will create class demo is equals to, I will provide it the value of 4, then, and now I will give it o is equals to demo. I will create an object. Now I will print o dot a, and now I will make o dot a is equals to suppose 0. Now if I will print o dot a here, I will get what? 4 and 0. Why? Because here now the class attribute has been changed to 0 here. How? Because the question is twisted here. It has asking us for the class attribute, but here as you can see class attribute is not there, but we have created an object attribute, and in that object attribute we have provided a's value as 0. So here the converted value in object attribute is printing as 0, but in class it will always remain the same. It will never affect the class. For example, if I will print here demo.a and I will make it in print inside print, so what will it printed? I will get 4 again. So that is why our class is not changing here. Only the attribute has given the value which is not the a's value in the class. So object can have different values, but class object will remain same here, and it is not affecting our class as the question was asking us. Now let's move ahead to another question. Let's see what is it asking us. Add a static method in problem 2 to greet the user with hello. Now we have to use static here. Question 4.py. Where is question 2? This was a calculator here. So I will control it, control copy it, then I will paste it. This is wrong here. I will go here again. I will control A, control C, and I will go to question 4. I will control B here. So now to use static method here, what will I do is I will go here, and here I will give static method just like this. Or suppose if I create a new function here, suppose I am not creating a class calculator here, not this also, I am creating what, or maybe in this only I will create another function here, suppose def hello, and I will make it print hello there, just like that. Now I want to pass anything inside it, so I will do what, I will create a static method here. So what static method does is, why we are using it, we are telling the Python interpreter that we don't need any object value inside our this function, and we don't need any self value also. So that is how we will do it, and when I will run this, I will get hello there also. I haven't called it, So I have to call it as well. Now it will give me hello there also. So that is how you can do this question. Now moving ahead to another question, write a class train which has methods to book a train, get status and get fare information of train running under Indian Railways. Now that is a train question. This is quite a lengthy question, I guess. So now let's move ahead. Let's firstly make a class train here, not G train, only train here, and then let's suppose now firstly just pass it for now. Now make another, or not pass the whole class here. I will do what, I will create def, not here inside the class, def book. Now let's give it self, and then train number from and to, just like this. And now I will just pass it for now. Now I will make another function here. I have to get status, just like this. I will create self again, and I will give it train number here, and I will again pass it. Now I will create get fare. Or let's not make from here, because from is a keyword which is already taken in built in Python, so we will not use from here. We will always use fro here, fro, which makes us from. Now again self train number fro and 2 here, just like that. Now I will just print f or not train ticket where in train number. Here I will get train number or train number, just like this. From, I will use fro here, fro from to. This is now I will import random, then I will go to randint, random.randint, just like this, from 2 to 2 to 5, 5, 5, 5, just like that. That will be the prices. Now instead of using import random, I will do what here is, I will do, like write it like here. I will do from random import randint, just like this, and then I will only have to use int here, just like this. Now let me just make functions here. Now here train is booked in train number as train number, just like this, from to here. Now making another one here, just like this. I will have to print here train number is running on time. I will make it like this, then I will go here and call all the functions, just like that. I will write train, suppose the train number is 1 2 5 6 7 8, just like that. Now I will call my functions one by one. Dot book from Siliguri to suppose Aguara here, and then I will call another function t dot get status, as you can see here, and then I will call t dot uh, get where just like this, and I will call it, then I will run it. Now here it is showing me train takes no arguments. Tackle this, we can make what init function, function def, then init, and then I have to pass self, and then for train number I will give self dot train number is equals to train number, just like that. Now if I will run this, I'm still getting this missing one positional argument. Book is providing and positional argument, that is 2. Now if I give it like this, and then positional argument here are missing. So now to make it work, I have to firstly get my def function here. Now let us take it like this only. Select it, and then keep pressing alt like this, and I will make a space here. Now what I did here is I haven't given this as self dot train number, that is why it is, I guess it is not showing me like this. So I will just press alt, not like this, I'll press alt here, then I will press alt here and here to make self dot, just like that. Now if I will run this, status is missing one positional argument. So now after doing this, now I don't have to provide this train number everywhere after init. So I will remove train number from here, and then come back here. So here also I have to give. If I run this, now it's showing me the correct one. As you can see here, train is booked from train number from Siliguri to Phagwara. Here, as you can see here, I have printed this, and then the status is getting printed, train number this is running on time. Then the last one is ticket fare in train number this from Siliguri to Phagwara is this 2060. So it depends on whether whatever your coach is. That is how I hope you get my point. I made some mistakes here, then I corrected them. So that is how you can solve this question. Now let's move ahead to another one. Last question here says, can you change the self parameter inside a class to something else? Say Harry. Try changing self to SLF or Harry and see the effects. Now to make this happen, I have to make question6.py file first, then I will go here and will copy suppose question 5 only, Ctrl A, Ctrl C, and then I will come here and paste it, Ctrl V, just like that. Now what I have to do here is, to make that happen, you only need to keep in mind that when you are writing anything except self here in the argument position, in the parameter here, so you have to provide it here also, otherwise it will show you the error. So you can write here, suppose in the book one, suppose I have written my name here, and then I have to also provide this one here like this, so it won't affect my code here, just like that. As you can see, it is not affecting my code here, but it is not a very good practice to write anything here. We usually use self here. So as you have seen, the output will be intact here whether I write this or anything else. So I'll make it self here again. And with that being said, our lecture 8 is over here, and I will meet you guys in lecture number 9, where we will be learning about inheritance and other more functions in Python. in oops. So let's meet in lecture 9. Thank you so much for watching.